Headshots formed, and that was basically just a crew of us that were all doing the same thing. So it was, you know, it was b-boys, it was MCs, it was DJs, it was graffiti artists, and it was basically just a bunch of cats that were all in the local scene doing their thing and kind of had similar interests, and kind of approached things similarly. The Abstract Pack, who was a group I started doing production with, and then Urban Atmosphere at the time, who obviously became Atmosphere. Musab, who at that time was Beyond and was working with Ant, and a group by the name of Black Hohl, which some of those members became Los Nativos and Phull Surkle.
The biggest piece of that puzzle would just be opportunity. Because at the time, you know, you had, Wu-Tang Clan was one of the biggest things to happen. Boot Camp Click, Hieroglyphics. The power was in numbers. That was the trend at the time. You know, you had native tongues prior to that. You know, people were showing us that if you could crew up, that there was a strength to that.
Hey, check this out. It wouldn't have mattered which one of these three groups won, because it's all headshots in the end, you know what I'm saying? So whoever wins, if they win, we win. If they win, we win. So it don't matter. Check this out, so y'all won, fuck it.
Me and Spawn were just kind of like these satellites, but we were playing shows with the Micranots, or we were playing shows with some of these other artists now, and people were getting used to seeing us, but I don't think anybody ever seen us as like positioning ourselves to really be anything more than that. Those two dudes, they're pretty cool. Tall guys that open for us, they're nice guys. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it wasn't until Headshots that people saw us as part of something.
Me and Labyrinth, we were just making music with Ant.
That was basically my introduction, and he introduced me to the wide world of everything that this town had at the time.
We did that show, that Black Moon show, is when we got, I'd say, like, recognized, like, oh, okay, these dudes are dope.
At that show was, like, all kinds of dudes. Like, yeah, Slug was one of them, and he stood out, actually, really stood out. The Pack and all those guys. So, eventually I did work with every single person on that stage, every day.
You know, the Abstract Pack, they were already kind of making a name for themselves, but that was, at least to me, when they locked it in. You know, when I saw them at the Capri, I was blown away.
That's like where I kind of initially was like, okay, there's this Headshots, because they would just have everybody, like, they would always bring like 30, 40 people, you know what I'm saying? And that would be like half the crowd at the time. Just, everybody's like, Headshots, you know what I'm saying?
Yep. So who knew that 1995 was the year of the Headshots? Headshots.
Then they got like 12 guys on stage, so it just looked fresh, you know, it just looked and sounded dope.
Well, I had actually met Musab prior to the Headshots thing. And I met him through Unicus.
And I walk in and Slug's in the living room just chilling or whatever. From that moment on, me and Slug became tight, and he was just always coming over to the house. And like I said, I had like the hip hop house. So he would come, but he was a part of Headshots at the time.
With me, I wasn't there when Headshots was actually born. I was basically told that I was part of Headshots. You know what I'm saying? But it was okay because I already knew.
From there, I met up with Glow Pesci.
There must have been a conversation with Sadiq, Abstract Pack, and some of those guys who were involved from day one. But I remember Glow going to a few of us and saying, "Hey, we're starting this thing. You should come mess with me."
I actually went to his apartment and played him some music, like some audition shit. And then he consorted with the crew, and at the time I was going by Beyond. Yeah, Beyond's a member of Headshots now, okay.
When I saw Phull Surkle, they were playing with Casino Royale. The energy here is amazing. These dudes are rapping their ass off, same with Black Hohl. And the thing was, the camaraderie that we were able to build through these showcases was all based on actual excitement.
And I didn't really have to think about it because it was brought to me. As far as that's kind of how I remember it. Even before I was really working with Slug too tough, there was one of those weird meetings where a bunch of people sit around figuring out who's gonna do what. And I was like, hey, I'll just make the music if you want.
We started to do shows, and this was at the very beginning of Headshots, when Headshots started to actually like do shows. Now keep in mind that this is 94, 95, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Twin Cities. There's nowhere really to do shows.
Really, it kind of started building a name locally. Just grew it out of nothing. You know, we pretty much started doing, you know, at the time, the scene had kind of dried up. And, you know, there were problems at a few different shows, and nobody's really booking hip-hop shows. You know, crews that we came up around, you know, like the Micranots had left town and moved to Atlanta. And so there was kind of a hole in the scene, but there was an underground scene happening that was coming up really in basements. And so not having anywhere to kind of take that to, we started playing just wherever people would let us hook up some speakers and rap. And that was really our approach, you know. It was like, let's just do what it was pure feeling. And so we started playing places like the Mighty Fine Cafe.
We invented that shit. I don't care who disagrees or who says what. As far as I know, Headshots invented the cafe rap show. Our first one, man, was Jitters. That's where we first started doing them joints at.
And we would, you know, it was 10 people, then 20 people, then 50 people. And there was some legendary nights there where, you know, just different crews battling and stuff. So it was a cool time, and everybody was developing. From there, you know, we kind of just evolved that into bigger shows. We started selling out those places, and then, you know, the clubs started coming to us looking for, you know, what was going on, just because people were starting to hear about it.
Man, it was so fun. When I think about it, like actually what was going on back then, oh man. Like, see, I don't even, like in those days, to be a part of the best crew in your city, there's nothing better than that.
There was room in here for all of these voices, even though, like I say, I wasn't the best one. Not all of us were as good as others. There were others that were way more talented, but there was room for all of these voices, and that was, to me, I think the magnet that brought it all together.
How many MCs must get broken to make them stop provoking? Give me my space to get erased. These days I'm faced with more than enough disturbance. Your brains is bird shit, rhymes is worthless. Fuck your